Today, Baba is talking about the importance of the intellect. And you see that the intellect is the most important organ we have. But if you ask yourself, we use our eyes too much, ears too much, mind too much, a lot, but not our intellect. And Baba comes and activates our intellect. And if you look at our journey in the 84 birth cycle, then the most striking reason why we lost all our power was Ravan invaded our intellect and made it pretty dysfunctional, made it very limited. And our intellect is our organ of perception. So we nowadays, when we are body conscious, we think that our eyes are the organ of perception. But our eyes see what the intellect knows. And if our intellect is limited, then our eyes are very limited. Because we only see, we only perceive what we understand. If you don't understand something, for example, if there's a child and the child doesn't know the difference between a stone and a diamond, then the child will not become happy by seeing a diamond. The child will become very happy by seeing dust. So the child will want to, play in the dust. Because the child's awareness is not, it's not expanded through information of this world. And that is why, in the world, people say we should study and we should travel, because according to them, it broadens our intellect. But yes, and it does, but then that's also a very limited broadening. Because if you study also, the entire study of this world is about this world of 5 elements of nature, this physical world. And you travel also this physical world, then your intellect is broadened and it knows a lot about this world. But what about the other worlds? What about, so you see, in normal educational study, when we study in the world, we go to school, college also, they are trying to tell you about history and geography. History and geography are very important. And the more you travel, the more geography you understand, the more you study, the more history you understand. And you understand about the 5 elements of nature in this physical world. And when you know that, your intellect broadens. Yes, because I remember there was this one person and they were telling me that, when you study history, you figure out that so many practices existed in ancient India. And that person said that when I studied about Mirabai, when I studied about, many women who were very learned in ancient India, then my attitude towards women shifted. And I started understanding that women have been made very limited today, because today we only see them as, objects of sensory satisfaction. But when I studied history and how women were so educated, and they wrote scriptures, and I studied about Mirabai and her practice of purity and her devotion, then I had a different attitude towards women. So I told him, you see, history is so important. And when you study geography, when you travel, when you study about different parts of the world, then you understand how, your civilization is not the only civilization, and there are so many people living in so many ways, and there are so many things happening, and there are so many states of being, depending on the geography. And that is why Baba also comes and teaches us history and geography. Yes, and Baba always tells us, I teach you history and geography. And I remember when I was new in Gyan, I used to think a lot about this. Why is Baba saying, I'm teaching you history and geography? And why are these two subjects so important? And slowly I realized that it's all about history and geography. And your intellect is broadened through history and geography. And Baba makes our intellect broad and unlimited by telling us the unlimited history of the whole cycle and unlimited geography of the three worlds. So Baba says, I teach you about the three worlds. I teach you about the past, present, future. I teach you about how you were like a deity. And then you see, your intellect expands and you start perceiving yourself, you start perceiving the world, you start perceiving Bharat, you start perceiving souls differently. Just like that brother said, that I started perceiving women differently once I started understanding that the dignity of women that was in India. So if you start understanding that I was a deity, then you start perceiving yourself differently. You start perceiving everyone around you differently. You start perceiving this world differently. And I remember there was this one time when we had a shivir. It was a workshop program for de-addiction. And then it was a 3-day event. And then we did that. And then there was the course imparted. And then there were many people who left addiction after that. And then after 6 months, there was a follow-up of those who left some kind of addiction and stayed on that path and did not fall back into that addiction. And there was this one brother who was very happy, was raising his hand, very ardently. And then I called him and I asked him, please share your experience. So he said, I left all my addiction after the 1-week course. So I asked him, and you didn't feel anything, like you didn't have those withdrawals and you didn't feel like going back to it? So he said, no. So I said, what was it in the course that clicked or hit you? And then he just kept laughing and he said, I did not know I was a deity. So he just said, I figured out I was a deity and that was it. And it entered my buddhi that I was a deity and how can I be doing this? So you see, it's just a matter of, Baba gives us gyan, but this gyan, if it sits in our buddhi, it's very powerful. And that day, I really had this question that this brother, the way he understood I was a deity, have I understood it like that? And then I started, thinking about really this knowledge that Baba gives us. And Baba tells us that the most important knowledge that Baba gives us is the knowledge of Baba. And knowledge makes you perceive things which these two eyes can't perceive. So these two eyes are limited by the intellect, but the intellect is not limited by these two eyes. Once you understand something, once something enters your buddhi, you can experience it. Whether you can see it with the eyes or not is not important. But even if you see something and you don't understand it, you can't feel a thing. Yes, for example, if you have no idea about an aeroplane, you can see an aeroplane flying, but you will not understand what it is. And have you seen that Baba in the Murli always says that in bhakti, when people have bhavana for me, they have these loveful devotional feelings for me, but they don't know me. So I give them the vision of the one they have devotional feelings for. Because even if they had a vision of me, they wouldn't understand that this is me. So the intellect is so important that if something is not in your intellect, some piece of knowledge is not in your intellect, then even if you see something, you can't understand it. But if you understand something, then seeing it is not important. Yes, if you understand it, for example, because of science, we understand so many things which we can't see, but now we understand. You ask anybody whether, something when it falls from above, whether it will go down or up, they will instantly say it will go down. Why? Because you've understood the law of gravity. It doesn't matter whether you have seen it or not seen it. And you see, there is the ozone which we can't see. We don't know the ultraviolet rays, we don't know radiations, but now we understand it. And whenever there is a skin problem, then we understand it's because of the exposure to the sun and because the ozone layer has become thin, and all of these things we can't see, but we understand it because now it's in our buddhi. So Baba says, I come and give you the buddhi. I give you the knowledge to understand me. That I am a point of light and I reside in the world of light. And I am the purifier, I am the liberator, I am the guide, I am the ocean of knowledge, I am your father. I give you the inheritance every cycle. I am your teacher. I come and teach you every day. I am sitting in the body of Brahma Baba and speaking to you. And Baba says, I give you the knowledge about myself, about my form, about my qualities, about my relationship with you, about how I have come, how I have adopted Brahma Baba. And Baba says, this is my wife. And I have created you children through the wife's mouth. I have spoken to you through Brahma Baba. And Baba says, I give you all this information, all this knowledge about myself. And then the more you churn on it, yes, so once you start churning on something, it starts sitting in your intellect. And then you can have buddhi yoga with Baba. Yes, and there is this very interesting thing called buddhi yoga. We have heard of this buddhi yoga in scriptures, But what is buddhi yoga? Buddhi yoga is having yoga with someone through understanding without even having the need to see that one. Yes, so you can have buddhi yoga. So you see, just think about how something which is not there can make you afraid. Yes, there are some. So you see, ghosts, nobody has seen ghosts, or maybe some have, but most haven't. But ghosts, if you think about the ghost, you feel afraid. And then if you have buddhi yoga with the ghost, then you can feel fear, which is very, which is a very real feeling. So you are able to feel fear by having buddhi yoga with something that doesn't exist. And Baba says, if you can have buddhi yoga with the ghost, why can't you have buddhi yoga with me? I'm just not visible, but I'm there. And you have to know me to have buddhi yoga with me. And then when you have buddhi yoga with Baba, then Baba says there's this law. The company of the truth takes you across, and the company of falsehood drowns you. So you see that if you there is a lot that exists which you can't perceive with these two eyes. But if that which exists, that which is the truth, and you hold it in your awareness, then that will take you across. But if you are told something which is not true and you have buddhi yoga with that, then it can also drown you. Yes, so Baba says, I am the truth. I am telling you the truth about the beginning, middle, and end of the world, about myself. And when you start studying the truth, when you start understanding the history and geography through me, when you start understanding me through me, and you start having buddhi yoga with me and the real past, unlimited past, present, and future, the three worlds, then what happens is you start going across. That is why the company of truth takes you across. And Baba, every day in the Murli, Baba is explaining that, you called out to the purifier, to the ocean of knowledge, ocean of truth, to your father, mother. So you sang praises about me. I'm your father, mother, teacher, guide, and I am that one. And then when you start believing it, you start trusting it, when you start having faith in what Baba says, then your buddhi yoga is with the truth, with Baba. And then Baba takes you across. And Baba says that this is the method through which you go across. And this is the method through which everybody has to go across. Because it is only by having buddhi yoga with me, knowing me as the father, teacher, Satguru, remembering me as I am, and studying from me because I'm teaching you, having faith in me the way I ask you to have faith in me, that you will become purified. And when I start trusting this process, then I start getting purified. And Baba says you cannot go across without becoming pure, because your home is a pure world, the new world is a pure world, and you cannot go back in impurity. So, and Baba talks about the faith being number wise in children. Yes, and Baba says not everybody has the same extent of faith when it comes to, this truth that Baba is teaching us, and Baba will give the inheritance of heaven. So those who have that faith, they have a lot of interest in studying, remembering Baba, becoming purified, and they have this thing in their heart that I now have to go back. And this faith is number wise because the intellect is very, very shrouded with Ravan Mat. So for 63 births, our intellect has been corrupted by Ravan. And vices and the beliefs of bhakti and so many things which are completely the opposite of truth, they are now sitting in our intellect, and that intellect is not able to have faith in Baba. That intellect is not able to hold the truth that Baba is giving us, because there's so much filled in the intellect. And Baba today explains very ardently that, no human being can be the supreme father, teacher, or Sadguru. But you see, in bhakti, we have, so you see, it's so illogical that somebody who is himself making effort to go back, we think this one will take us across. You see, the gurus in bhakti, they have themselves not gone across, they are here. And they are making effort. And then we start believing that this human being will take us across. And Baba says that cannot be, because no human being is Satguru, no human being is pure. Every human being is a soul who has taken many births, and now they are all corrupted. And Baba says, how can a human being be your liberator and show you the path to go back? So Baba says, they are not the Salvation Army. They cannot save you. They cannot save you from this old world and take you across. But Baba says, everybody, we have so many births, we have accepted human beings as, God, and we have accepted human beings as Satgurus who will take us across, that now when Baba tells us the truth, only the fortunate, they start imbibing the truth. Yes. And I will tell you one thing, this is a very big thing, understanding that human being is not God or human being is not Satguru. This is a second level thing, but just very basic things, I remember there was this one person, and he was a very big believer of Vastu. And Vastu is a science in which they say that, if your rooms are facing in a certain direction and the house is in a certain direction, then it will bring blessings. And if it's not, then it will bring bad omens and all of that. So this person was a very big believer at Vastu, and there was something wrong going on in his life or house or whatever. And then I asked him, just give me one answer. Is your mind more powerful? Are your thoughts more powerful? Or is the direction of your house more powerful? And he said, no, the direction of my house is more powerful. So I said, and what about your thinking? Is it not creating your destiny? And I told him, how thoughts create feelings, attitude, action, habit, relationships, personality, destiny. And he said, no, the direction of the house is more important. Why? Because you see, that person has trained himself to think like that. And this is how, the intellect gets corrupted. People, instead of taking personal ownership of their actions and destiny, the intellect has been so corrupted that they keep running to, some person who will give them one jari booty, some person who will give them some stone, somebody who will do some havan for them, or somebody who will change their horoscope, or they are all running after these things because the intellect has been corrupted. And it has been trained into thinking that everything is outside in. If you have to change something inside, go outside. That's how we have been trained. And just think about God. When we talk about God, then bhakti has messed up the concept of God like anything. So, human beings are God, and stones are God, and idols are God. And nobody's thinking about whose idol is it? Where is that person behind that idol? And I remember there was this one time there was this class of new people, and then I asked, when you look at a photo album and you see somebody's photo, you ask, that where is this person? Why don't you do that to the idols in the temples? Where are they now? Why don't you ever ask, where are these people now? Where is the Shiv Baba whose Jyotirlingam we are worshipping? So, where is that point of light, Shiv Baba? So, it never occurs to us. We never think like that. We never think about. So, we say God is one, and then we believe in hundreds of gods, and we never have any doubt about it. That who is that one God? And then you say God has many faces and many incarnations, but then what is his original face? Even if you said he has many incarnations, what is the original face? At least that question should occur. But we are so confused and so corrupted by all this Ravan Mat. And then you see the purity. The thing about purity, I remember there was this one Kumar. He's a pure Kumar. He's not yet married. He's, just going to college. And then when he heard the knowledge of purity, he liked knowledge very much. He liked the concept of soul, Baba, everything. But then when it came to purity, when he started listening to the Murli, and in the Murli, Baba would say, become pure, he left Gyan. And then I asked him, why did you leave Gyan? So he said, because Baba talks about purity. And I said, why is that a problem for you? I understand it's a problem for somebody who is, married or something, but why is that a problem for you? So he said, no, I don't want to listen to Gyan, which will tell me to become pure in future. So you think about, we are so scared of being free from lust, greed, attachment, because Ravan has tainted our intellect in such a way that we think that we run away from anything that frees us from lust, ego, anger, attachment, greed. People are so scared of becoming free from lust and ego and attachment. I didn't know. In Seva, I came to know. There was this one brother, and the day he heard this word detachment, he just ran away. He said, I don't want to be detached from my wife and children. So I said, okay, but do you understand detachment? Detachment is not dissociation, but detachment is necessary. So he said, I don't want to be detached also. I want to feel every emotion. I want to feel sad and sorry and bad, and I want to cry with them. I want to weep with them. So I said, that's your aim in life. So this is how corrupted our intellect has become. And then Baba tells us that I free you from this Ravan Mat. And it takes time. It is not easy because our intellects have been so corrupted that understanding Baba as he is, understanding purity, understanding virtues and vices, and even having that will to be virtuous and free from vices, or that clarity that no, this is not Baba, this is Baba, and Baba is just a point of light, and I have to have that love for Baba because Baba is my Father, teacher, Satguru, it is very number wise. And Baba says that, and even Brahma Baba says recites his experience that I don't have complete buddhi yoga, which Baba, I have to make effort. Why? Because so much of, body consciousness and our intellect is having yoga with so many people that, Baba is the ultimate. Baba is the one I have all relationships with, all attainments from, and one Baba is enough. I don't need anybody. I have to be a server for anybody, and just one Baba and none other. It takes a lot of time. And that is what Baba is talking about today. And then Baba says, our aim is to pass with, pass with honors or go with respect. And how will we go with respect? When we finish all our sins, when we burn all our sins in Baba's remembrance. But for that, we have to use our buddhi. We have to cleanse our buddhi. We have to, we have to have buddhi yoga with Baba. We have to get purified. And only then we will not have to face punishment in the end. And if we want to go with respect, if we don't want to lower our head before Dharamraj, then we have to make this effort before going. Okay, Om Shanti. Anybody wants to share anything, please?
Om Shanti.
Om Shanti.
I had a question. These vices are in our mind or in our intellect?
Intellect.
Intellect, okay. I was practicing like that it is in mind.
No, you see, the thing is, your intellect has been trained to believe that vices are normal, natural, and good. Right?
Yes.
Then you acted out of vices and now they are your sanskar. And the sanskar dominates the mind.
Okay.
So where you perceive your vices is in the mind. But where it originates from is your intellect. So that is why when we have buddhi yoga with Baba and we get purified, then we can deal with the mind. We cannot deal with the mind by telling the mind, stop thinking about vices. No, it will not work like that. Okay. Okay. I'm sure.
Thank you.
Yes. Hanji Minkaven.
Om Shanti.
Om Shanti.
Today I was when I was meditating, I felt like I was finding it hard to experience my original sanskars. Like for example, like bliss. I have no idea what bliss feels like. So I thought I was churning about it, and for me, I thought that how I felt it is where do you actually experience something is in your mind. So I thought if I want to experience something in my mind, I have to see something a certain way. I have to be aware. My awareness of something has to be a certain way, and then that's how I see things in my mind, and that's how I experience it. So I thought that when Baba comes and gives knowledge, with that knowledge, he has given his vision to me, the way he sees things. That same vision he is giving me through this knowledge, so that when I see my awareness has to be the same awareness as how Baba sees things in his mind. And I thought of Manmana Bhav, and I thought the way Baba perceives in his mind, I have to perceive Baba's mind in my mind with the same awareness. And that way I will respond to situations or respond to anything with this knowledge and awareness. Then I thought that would probably change my sanskars or habits. And if if my habits change, then automatically I should start to feel my like my original qualities. I should be able to experience it in my mind. So I was thinking that I have to always be in the awareness of Baba's vision should always be in my awareness too.
Yes, absolutely
Thank you.
correct. Thank you. Om Shanti.